Hi, welcome to Drinkosaurus, where we take ancient cocktail recipes into the modern era. My name is Matt, I am your host, and let's get drinking. On today's episode, we are going to make a holiday-based drink in the form of homemade eggnog. And in pure Drinkosaurus fashion, we're going to take the usual recipe and add a few little tweaks to it to make it a little bit more boozy and a little bit less sweet than the usual things you'll find online. So I made this for the first time last week. It was a lot of fun to make and it came out really good. So I'm excited to make it today. I'm gonna walk you through the recipe, the technique. I'm gonna have to do a lot of whisking today. I don't know why you need to know that now, but there's gonna be a lot of whisking. I'm just, prepping myself for it. So we're gonna walk through the regular recipe. I'm gonna talk about how I changed it, and then I'm gonna probably drink way too much of it, and this is the first episode we're filming in this series, so good luck with that, Matt. Yeah, let's get to it. Much like most cocktails, the origin of eggnog is debated and nobody really has like an agreed upon origin for it. The name eggnog also has a lot of interesting theories about where it came from. But aside from eggnog, specifically when alcohol is added, it's known as milk punch or egg milk punch, which I know punch is like a general term for an alcoholic beverage made in bulk that has a lot of juices in it, but I just keep thinking of Hawaiian punch, and that mixed with eggs makes me very uncomfortable, and milk. Ugh. In terms of where the word eggnog itself came from, nog in the 1600s was a strong beer in the European region. A noggin is also like a small wooden cup used to serve alcohol, so people thought that those are two words where like the nog part came from. What's not so much debated is it was inspired by a British drink, a medieval drink, posset, which was hot milk in either wine or ale sounding better than wine and milk, and some spices, which, as you'll see when we create our eggnog, is pretty close to the current template for it. If you look up recipes for eggnog online, one of my critiques that I had when looking through is either they have a lot of sugar, like by the cups, which is too much sugar, and they either have like not enough alcohol or way too much. I saw one that was calling for like 2 cups of bourbon and it only served 6 people. And it also had like Bacardi 151 in it. So I wanted to create like a happy medium and keep something that still felt like a cocktail, not just like alcoholic milk or like sugar that gets you drunk, but you don't taste the alcohol. I wanted something that you could taste the alcohol in it, but still was evocative of eggnog. And as you'll see, the drink also is texturally really interesting because eggs are pretty cool. And also, if you didn't know, like eggnog has raw eggs in it. I don't know why people get so uncomfortable about that. I think there's a lot of spread information about raw eggs and how they'll kill you. They might, a little bit. There's a small chance, but you know what? So we'll go in a car or slipping on ice. Or, I don't know, falling downstairs. In previous episodes of Drinkosaurus, we've used egg whites as a textural element. This one has egg yolks, too, which I've never mixed raw with before, but it comes out good. And I've had many eggnogs since I made it, and I'm still okay, physically. So let's get our whisks ready. I hope that made a cool sound. Let's get our whisks ready and start making some eggnog for 6 people. We're gonna make a big batch today because it's hard to whisk one egg white to a firm peak. So let's get to it. So the first thing that we are going to do is we need to separate these eggs into yolks and into whites. And I recommend having 2 bowls for this, one larger one and one smaller one. So I actually have my big bowl over here. Hey, come back. So when separating eggs, you kind of want to do like I'll show you, a little seesaw. There we go. So when I was making this the other week, part of the egg white didn't separate and it was just dangling and it wouldn't come off. So I had to get kitchen shears and just cut it. And it was a very surreal experience, to say the least. So hopefully we won't have to cut out any egg whites. Why is it? Oh, there we go. You don't have to get any special eggs. I just get the one in the fancy looking container because, oh no. Oh, okay. Because it looks classier and more expensive. And uh-oh, that was a close one. We're gonna put our egg whites to the side, and we're gonna first start with our yolks. So I'm gonna transfer this into a big bowl because we're gonna add a lot of liquid. I'm excited for this part. Didn't like that. Don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't like that. Ugh, it's gonna be such a messy make. Make sure I don't get that on the carpet. So what we're going to do is we are going to beat this in with some sugar. So I have about a 1/4 cup of Demerara sugar, which is not required. I just like the taste of it a bit more. The reason that you probably want to just use regular sugar if you have it is this is a bit more coarse, so it takes longer to dissolve. I don't care, I want to put in the effort. So what we're gonna do is we're going to start whisking this, and we're gonna add in a little bit of this as we go, just to help it dissolve a bit easier. So I probably won't talk because whisking is loud. Do 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 do. It's brown snow because of the pollution. We're basically whisking until the egg yolks get fluffy and the sugar incorporates. I'm not gonna fully incorporate the sugar yet, just because I'm using coarser sugar, so it's gonna take longer. So I'm gonna give this maybe like a minute more of mixing. I tell you one thing, this drink sure has a lot of whiskey.
Boo!
All right. So once that's incorporated, it's fluffy. I whisked it for like 2 or 3 minutes. If you're fancy and have a special mixture, use that. What we're gonna add is the milk components. So here I have 2 cups, actually it's like 1 3/4 cups, but around 2 cups of whole milk. So we're gonna add that in. I'm kind of upset that so far, this is like scrambled eggs with sugar. The less you think about this drink, the better. And here I have heavy cream, and I have 1 cup of this. So 2 cups of the whole milk, 1 cup of the heavy cream. Wow. Furthermore, we're going to add some spices. So I have a little spice blend over here, and this is 1 teaspoon, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, about 3/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, and I put a little bit of clove in there. That's optional. I just saw it at the store today and bought it, but this smells so good. Smell. Does that smell like the holidays?
Ooh. Oh, it does.
Wow. You know what this smell reminds me of? Political debates over dinner. Let's put it in. Give it a little sprinkle. Sprinkles was the name of my cat. She died. This looks like way too much. Way too much, but I think it's because I spread it out. Oh well, let's mix it more. All right, so that's pretty well mixed together. Keep in mind as you're mixing this, since you're dealing with heavy cream, if you let it sit, the heavy cream's gonna rise to the top. Don't freak out, that's supposed to happen. Well, not supposed to happen, but it will happen, but it's okay. Now we're gonna add the booze. So, to this I like to add 4 ounces of bourbon, or 3. This is where you can do it based on your own preferences. I would say definitely don't go below 3 total ounces of booze here. I'm gonna do about 4-ish, maybe 5. So don't go crazy with your bourbon. This is Redemption Bourbon, which was actually a really nice buy. It was like in the 20s of dollars. It's not the best for drinking by itself, but it is really good in cocktails because it's a little bit higher proof and the flavor cuts through nicely. It also has a really bad cork, and there's little pits of cork in the bottle. So that's 2 ounces. I'm gonna maybe do like 3. There we go. 3 ounces of Bourbon. And I made this just with bourbon to start, but really rum to me is more of an eggnoggy flavor. So I'm gonna get some just Barbados rum here. This is Plantation. Once again, nothing super fancy. And I'm gonna put about 1.5 ounces. And since I have Allspice Dram, and allspice to me is a very holiday flavor, I add a little bit of this as well. I'm only adding a teeny tiny bit because this is very potent stuff. So I'm gonna add probably like between a 1/2 ounce and a 1/4 ounce. Just a little suggestion. Finally, a flavor that goes well with that is some pure vanilla. So I'm just gonna put like a little cap's worth of it. Boop. And we'll give it another mix. The alcohol doesn't have to be like mixed super well together. Alrighty, so that's half of it. And the texture element comes in the form of the egg whites. So we're gonna move over to them now and clean up a little bit. And then we're going to meringue some egg whites, whip them, I don't know, stiff peaks. We'll talk about it. Be right back. So now we have our egg whites here, our other mixes, just off screen. Ow. And we are going to whisk these first till soft peaks, which is basically like if you pull out your whisk, if they're a little floppy, that'll be soft peaks, and we're gonna add some sugar to this mixture, and then we're gonna whip it to hard peaks, fold it into the other mixture to make it like super fluffy and have a nice kind of like foam layer on top, which is super tasty. So if you've never whisked egg whites before, make sure you warm up. It's a lot of work. And yeah, I'll see you after a quick speed up and with a probably tired shoulder. All right, here we go. So as you can see, there's a lot of bubbles in here. What we're doing is incorporating air into the egg whites, and that's gonna get them like all nice and fluffy, almost like a meringue, but we still have a long way to go. I'm getting sweaty.
I don't think I've ever heard you get out of breath in your entire friendship.
Who's better at whisking?
Me or Danielle?
Yeah.
Danielle.
Take
I say
over.
that because I don't want to do it. Jesus Christ!
She whisks. All right, so we are at some soft peaks. So we're just gonna add, this is about a tablespoon of sugar. And this one I don't wanna use the Demerara sugar because I want it to incorporate a lot more easy. So we'll just sprinkle that in, and then we will continue. Why is that still going? That was amazing.
It didn't look like there could be that much.
But there was. And now we're gonna keep whisking until we're at stiff peaks. All right, and I think we've got some stiff peaks. So a stiff peak is when you lift it up. It'll stay nice and erect, for lack of better terms. All right, so now Danielle's going to get me a wooden spoon from the leftmost drawer. So now that we're done whisking, what we're going to do is take our other mixture and incorporate the two. So the cream separated a little bit here, so I'm gonna just give this another whiskey whisk. All right, and when we combine these two things together, we're not looking to whisk them so much as we're looking to just fold them together. We wanna be gentle. So I have a wooden spoon. I'm gonna transfer this in. Ooh, a little fluffy cloud. We're just gonna gently fold it in. It looks like a little, it looks like the jacuzzi at the Holiday Inn Express in North Conway, New Hampshire. I remember when I was a kid in the hotel jacuzzi, I'd be like, look, I'm Santa. And I would put all the foam on my face. And my dad was like, just don't do that. And I'm like, why? He's like, just don't. Thanks, Dad. Sometimes there was hair in the foam. As you can see, all those like big fluffy clouds are incorporating. There's still a few lumpies in there, but you know, it's part of the holiday season. So this has a wonderful texture, and I just hope it tastes good. So, almost good. So I'm gonna give it a little taste. It's good. That's right. No, let me put it in the cup. So usually you want to refrigerate this, but mostly the ingredients are pretty cool, so no reason that we can't have it now. So I didn't plan out the transfer of liquids, but I do have a rocks glass here, and I have this cup. So, okay. You know, tried to keep it neat, but it's not. Danielle's laughing off screen for whatever reason. I don't know why this is funny. Don't say anything. All right. And what you can do, oh, here's what I'm gonna do. Wash my hands. This is a very messy episode. And to garnish, you can add a little ground. Actually, I'm gonna add cinnamon to the top. Nutmeg is potent, so let's do cinnamon. It's for the aesthetics. So give a little dusty wusty. Oh, that looks so good. Look at that. And I present to you eggnog. Me by me. Let's taste it. Actually, before, I don't know if you can see, there's 2 layers in there. So there's the kind of the egg fluffy layer and then the more alcohol layer. So part of the textural elements of this are really nice because you get like a nice foamy froth lightness, and then underneath is where all the booze live. So let's take a sip. It's good. It's very creamy. It's very fluffy. The flavors are surprisingly lighter than the first time I did, and I think that's just because I'm taking the foam part, which is lighter. Once I get to like the stuff on the bottom, it'll be a bit more boozy, but yeah, it's good. If you haven't made homemade eggnog before, try it. A lot of the ones that you buy in the store, like the general ones, have this artificial taste to them. This one just tastes so much better. Smells good, and you can keep it in the fridge. Danielle's gonna take a little sip.
I'm just curious. Also a little scared.
I hope she doesn't throw it up. I'm proud of this one.
Oh yeah. That's good.
It's good.
That's good. Yeah. Oh boy.
So just to give you like here's the foam. So it's quite foamy, just so you can get like an idea of the texture. Holy shit. Ugh. I want this whole thing immediately. But yeah, this batch came out a little lighter. Should have added more booze. Maybe I will after. Jen's giving me the look of like, Matt, you have a whole bunch more episodes, but this is so good. Like, I need this right now. It's like cold out, it's rainy. I'm almost done, so I better keep going.
Get you a ladle.
Oh
God.
You were very aggressive with that. So it's gone, which means it's good. And now I have a whole bunch more. What I do is I just store it in like a big container in the fridge. And it's even better when it's chilled. At this moment, I'm definitely feeling that whole glass very quickly. So Jen, you were right. Oh well.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm just like really happy right now. That was so good.
It is really good.
If you have time this holiday, the ingredients are relatively easy to get. The only ones that are a little bit tricky was Allspice Dram, but you don't even need that. You could even put in like actual crushed allspice in there. Strongly recommend it. The recipe that I used is in the description, as well as on the side of the screen, which our wonderful editor Jen puts up there to keep track, because some of us are visual learners. Jen's face is like, Matthew, why are you talking like that? We're 1 episode in, we have a whole day of filming ahead of you. Uh-oh. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about the recipe. I suggest you play around with it, specifically with what types of alcohol you put in and in what amounts. Might take a few tweaks to get there, but it can be a fun activity with like a bunch of people together, especially people who know how to whisk. Drinkosaurus is a production of Little Giant Monsters. If you want to see other projects we're working on, please check us out at littlegiantmonsters.com. If you really like what we're doing and want to support us further, please consider doing so on Patreon, just like all of those epic people. Sorry, Jen, that's gonna be fun to edit. I know how much you love editing text. As mentioned before, if you have any comments, leave them down below. I really like them. I get excited. Any ideas for future videos? A friend of mine said that I should make one using Thanksgiving leftovers, which may or may not be happening today. We'll see how drunk I get and how much I care. Because if I don't, cranberry sauce is going in a cocktail. Little Giant Monsters is also on a bunch of different platforms, which you can find in the description below. That's all for today's episode. Stay warm, stay noggy, and most importantly, drink responsibly. I want more. There's a little divot in there where I took a sip. Looks like raw pancake dough. No. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.